The Indian film industry is the second largest in the world only after Hollywood. And in terms of number of films released every year, it's number one. There are a number of factors driving this, but a major one is the star system. And in today's video, we're going to talk about how does a star system affect a movie industry. Let's take the example of European cinema. European cinema over the decades has been in a decline. French and German cinema used to be bigger than Hollywood back in the day, but the use of sound in movies by Hollywood proved to be a game changer, and Hollywood was quick to set up a major studio network around this. All this really impacted the French and German film industries, and this was followed by the World War. However, let's be real here, you can't stick to these points forever. Japan was in shambles after the World Wars, but yet its movie industry is one of the biggest in the world right now. And well, it's not like Europe hasn't excelled in other industries. So, back to my question again. Why is the European film industry collapsing? Well, there are two main reasons to this. One being the different languages and cultures across Europe, and the other is the lack of major stars or celebrities. So speaking of point one can argue that regions in Europe speak different languages and are culturally different. While this is true, one of the major reasons for the industry collapsing is still the lack of stars. So let's go ahead and do a comparison over here. If we take the German-speaking belt of Europe, the population of this zone is more than double of that of South Korea. Yet, the Korean film industry is much larger than all these regions combined. And one of the main reasons behind that is the stars. Be it K-dramas or K-pop, Korea has some massive fan following for the celebrities in these fields. And this in turn leads to higher viewership when a piece of work is out with them in it. Now, let's tailor all this to the Indian context. The star system in India has been age-old. All the way from Raj Kapoor to Rajesh Khanna, Amitabh Bachchan, Rajnikant, Kamal Hassan, Shah Rukh, Salman to Allu Arjun, the stars have been a constant in and across the Indian film industry. In fact, even the smaller film industry such as Bhojpuri cinema has its stars like Ravi Kishan and Manoj Tiwari, and they've helped drive up the cost and scale of even Bhojpuri films. So how do stars drive an industry? Well, to put it in a nutshell, it's all marketing. The stars at the end of the day are a brand more than an actor. And like any brand, the more you see it, the more likely you are to go ahead and purchase the product. When you go into a supermarket and you see a Colgate toothpaste, you're more likely to go ahead and buy it versus an unknown brand, which may actually be better. Similarly, a movie starring a known, loved and revered face will garner a certain buzz and add a certain reliability factor, which one without a known name won't. Furthermore, over time, Indian movies began to shoot a lot abroad, more than any other film industry. This initially added a twofold benefit. Back in the day, people would now get to see Amitabh Bachchan in Switzerland versus Bombay. The chance to not only see their favorite star, but also a place that would have otherwise been fairly inaccessible to them. And this created an aspirational value. This later changed to Indian films tapping into Indians living abroad with the same concept through films like DDLJ and K3G in London, Kal Ho Na Ho in New York, and so on. So now with these stars, India had begun to create and cater to not just Indians in India, but also Indians abroad. And with the world getting more global and better connected, these Indians living abroad educate others around them of interesting movies. I remember going to Egypt in the mid-2000s and all the locals there were talking about Shah Rukh Khan and Kajol because Suraj Hua Madham was shot there at the pyramids. Any other remote part of the world you'd go to, people would say, "Oh, you're from India, you know Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan?" And all this over time led to the Indian film industry really blowing up. The number of screens abroad have been increasing exponentially over the decades for Indian movies. So let's rewind a little over here. How does a star impact all this? For starters, for a movie to have a wide release abroad, it's going to have to be made on a certain scale. And to make it on a certain scale, a producer needs to have a certain level of confidence that they get by bringing a known face or a star on board. Now, a star can be a director as well. It's basically any person who has a wide appeal and following. So, for example, Karan Johar can make a Student of the Year with unknown faces because he, as a star, commands a certain following and people will go watch the movie because it's a Karan Johar movie. Similarly, Rajamouli is a brand as well. But now, what if a Rajamouli movie has Junior NTR and Ramcharan in it? You all of a sudden have three people who are crowd pullers and the movie gets a whole new scale and a higher chance of succeeding. So the fact is, no matter how good you are, nobody will bet on you with a massive budget unless you're a known face. This not only brings in crowds in India, but also adds a sense of recall value for non-Indians for a face they see more often. Which explains why Shah Rukh has such a big fan following in Germany and why Raj Kapoor was so famous in Russia. And this is basically why Europe fails. It has barely had any so-called stars. They have known faces who are fantastic actors, but there's no crazy fan following behind them. So there's no guarantee if the public will come watch the movie blindly on day one, no matter how good or bad the movie is. And if the movie turns out to be not so good, then it could lead to a major loss as well. Which is why the average budget of a European film is approximately 2 million euros, roughly 18 crore rupees. And mind you, this is 18 crores in Europe, not India. The scale of an 18 crore movie in Europe would be more like that of a 6 to 7 crore movie in India, as the cost of labor is far higher in Europe. Because of this, there are barely any big budget movies made in Europe, which in turn affects the global viewership and appeal. And with lesser revenue coming in, even producers get more averse to backing films. So the irony of the whole matter is, while the star system in India is fairly flawed and the stars are grossly overpaid, can the Indian film industry survive and grow without these stars?